John Daly and the news, brought to you by the ABC Television News Department. Now, here is John Daly.
The federal government today opened its critical legal drive to defeat the challenge of federal power by the state of Arkansas. As Washington moved through the courts to bring school integration to Little Rock, violence and threats of violence exploded again. In Nashville, Tennessee, a newly integrated school wrecked by dynamite. In Birmingham, Alabama, anti-integration demonstrations and threats of bombings. In Little Rock, Arkansas, the focus of conflict, no lessening of tensions, as Washington put the legal machinery into operation. Today, Arkansas's Governor, Orville Forbes, was served with a summons, a step toward obtaining an injunction restraining the governor from obstructing school integration with National Guard troops. Hearings on arguments for a preliminary injunction have been set for September 20th. For the picture story, we go to ABC affiliate KATV in Little Rock and reporter Oscar Oligood.
The legal line has been drawn in the integration problem in Little Rock. Federal Judge Ronald N. Davies, moving with speed, issued an order instructing Governor Forbes and others to appear at a hearing on a request for an injunction to show cause why the federal court order of August 28th ordering integration at Little Rock High School was not carried out. U.S. District Court Clerk Grady Miller reads the order.
Governor of the state of Arkansas, General Sherman T. Klinger, Adjutant General of the state of Arkansas, and Lieutenant Colonel Marion E. Johnson, Unit Commander of the Arkansas National Guard, are hereby added as and made parties defendant in this cause. Paragraph 2. Summons and a copy of said petition and of this order shall be served forthwith upon Governor Forbes, General Klinger, and Lieutenant Colonel Johnson, and upon the plaintiffs and the other defendants herein. Paragraph 3. A hearing upon the entry of a preliminary injunction as prayed for in said petition is hereby set for 10 a.m. September 20th, 1957, or as soon thereafter as may be heard for the court at room 436, Federal Building, Little Rock, Arkansas, dated September 10, 1957. Ronald N. Davies, United States District Judge, sitting by assignment.
It was only a matter of 10 or 15 minutes after the order was read that U.S. Marshal Beale Kidd arrived at the governor's mansion with the summons. For the first time since the National Guards were placed around the mansion, the gates were open to a federal official. As Marshal Kidd walked the long distance around the driveway, the governor came across the lawn, greeted him warmly, and accepted the summons. They talked for a few moments, then posed for photographers who were outside the gate. Governor Forbes again shook hands with Mr. Kidd, and the meeting was over. In a special press conference, Governor Forbes said late this afternoon, the tension has lessened. There isn't a need for as many troops around the high school. He said the troops will stay put until September 20th. Thus, the action of this afternoon apparently still means the present stalemate will continue at least until the hearing in Judge Davies' court 10 days from today. ABC reporter Bob Lodge has the picture story outside the high school in North Little Rock.
The National Guard has not been called to duty at North Little Rock, but today city officials ordered every available policeman to duty in front of the high school. None of the Negro boys who attempted to attend opening day classes yesterday were on hand to try again today, but Negro students who passed by on the way to their own nearby segregated school were heckled by the crowd. The officer in charge explained his orders to ABC's John Secondari.
Tell me, what are your orders here?
Our orders is just to keep law and order, that's all.
Well, suppose a group of Negro students tried to gain admittance. Would you keep them out?
No, sir. The only thing we're out here for is just to keep peace. That's all.
You'd allow them through the lines?
The only way we would take a step in case of violence and trouble. That's all.
Well, would you escort them into the school so they could
We're
go
not.
to the...
We're just out here in the street to keep law and order. That's all.
Meanwhile, a crowd estimated at only 50 to 100 persons appeared at Central High School across the Arkansas River in Little Rock. No Negro students appeared as National Guardsmen continued to ring the school. Now back to John Daly in New York.
In Nashville, Tennessee, growing tension tonight following the early morning destruction of a grade school by dynamite. Nashville police clamping down hard today arrested 24 persons, among them Northern segregationist John Casper. Casper was charged with making inflammatory statements at a series of rallies last night. Reporter Bob Fleming has the picture story from Nashville.
Dynamite devastated the Hattie Cotton grade school at Nashville shortly after midnight. The $500,000 school, 3 years old, was one of 6 in Nashville to receive Negro pupils yesterday. There was only 1 enrolled at this school. All classroom areas were shattered by the tremendous blast. Rooms where 390 children began classes yesterday. There had been no disorder over integration that here involved 1 Negro girl in the 1st grade. The force of the dynamite damaged homes and stores, some of them as much as 3 blocks away. Said a policeman who lives nearby, it sounded like the whole world ended in one big blast. But at another Nashville school, the Fair School, a Negro janitor was chased and stoned after tires of his cars were slashed. Richard Hancock tells of the incident.
As I started to leave, I say around 4:30 or 5 o'clock, I came out and I forgot my flag it's a regular United States flag that I put up every morning quite naturally at all schools. And I went back to take the flag down. And then in the meantime, when I got the flag down and I went, carried it inside the building, I came out and I got in my car and I had a flat tire. And I pulled around the corner and I stopped and I got out and went back in the building to call for service. Well, I didn't get to service, and so I decided I would walk. So as I went out the back door, about 10 or 12 men started hollering and whistling and they started throwing rocks at me. And so I started to run, and I ran on across the vacant campus here to the 4th Avenue.
At the Fair School, no violence today. Police were there to maintain order, so those who desired could go to school. But attendance was way down. In the auditorium and in the lower grades, rows of empty chairs. Many parents had decided to keep their children at home. Police set up barricades a block away from each school, permitted only pupils or parents with children to pass. This afternoon, Nashville police were issued tear gas and riot guns as Nashville waited to see what would happen next. And now back to John Daly in New York.
Birmingham, Alabama. No violence, but continuing tension today. One incident only, a bomb reported at a white high school. Students were evacuated, then returned 40 minutes later when no explosive was found. The school is the same high school at which an angry mob beat back the Reverend F.L. Shuttlesworth yesterday.
Reverend Shuttlesworth was attempting to enroll 4 Negro children in the school. After this beating, the Negro leader announced he would be back today to renew his efforts. This morning, though, Reverend Shuttlesworth was confined to bed under a doctor's care. More than 100 students stayed away from school, demonstrating and yelling. Anyone trying to enter the school area had to prove to police that he had business there. From his bed, the Reverend Shuttlesworth had a statement for our cameras.
God wanted me to bear a few scars on my body for this, because the steps of any good man are ordered by the Lord. This is a religious struggle, this is a holy struggle, and I trust that no Negro will harm any white man as a result of what happened today. That we will continue to pray, but I must say that our white brethren must learn to conduct themselves in the struggle, at least as peacefully and as Christianly as we will.
One New York Dateline, the stock market declines for the 5th consecutive day, with the slump today producing losses of more than $2. Missiles, the Middle East, and the United Nations. A closer look at this phase of the news in just a moment.
This portion of John Daly in the News is brought to you as a public service by your local ABC-affiliated station. Is John Daly.
Missiles and the Middle East. Defense Secretary Wilson today reports the United States can have 1,500-mile intermediate-range missiles in production within a year. The crucial question was asked, are we ahead of Russia in missiles? Mr. Wilson replied, I don't think I really know for sure. The Middle East. Secretary of State Dulles today told newsmen he feels the Syrian crisis can be settled without a Middle East war. But the Secretary added cautiously, we do not believe there or anywhere else in peace at any price. The events at Little Rock and elsewhere were raised. The Secretary of State commented that communist propagandists are playing up the racial incidents to make us look bad in the world. In the United Nations today, the opening session of the Special General Assembly meeting on Hungary heard a surprising proposal from Ireland's Foreign Secretary, Frank Aiken. Mr. Aiken proposed to ease tensions by a pullback of both American and Soviet forces from the border of Soviet Europe.
The Assembly Hall filled slowly but completely as Australian Ambassador K.C. Shan outlined the charges against Russia. Hungarian puppet delegate Peter Mode tried to kill the debate, and he was backed by Soviet delegate Sobolev. But the session continued as U.S. Ambassador Lodge made an appeal to Russia and the world.
Mr. President, the greatest danger which we face in this difficult and tragic matter is that we will give in to despair. The most necessary quality for us, therefore, is steadfastness. We know what is right. Although there is considerable physical power behind the thing which is wrong, those who wield that power are human beings who can be brought to change their minds. It is not only in our interest, but in theirs as well, that change should occur. Until it does, they will continue to be surrounded, as they are today, by bitter and hostile peoples who will turn against them the minute they have the chance. Faith of the sponsors of this resolution is that the wheel of history can, with God's help and steadfast human effort, be made to move toward justice and towards truth.
In just a moment, people, places, and things.
We're the Navy standby Seabees. We can build and we can fight, fight, fight. Our men survey a field by day and build a field at night. And no enemy opposer can stop a Seabee dozer. We're the Navy standby Seabees, bees of the 7 seas. Around the clock we build the dock, we get up steam, we span the stream, we drive the nails, we lay the rails, we draw the map, we fire the cap.
Construction men, you can join the Seabees of the Naval Reserve and receive a Navy rate based on your civilian skill and experience, because our Navy considers the work you do in your civilian job as the best training you can have for the Seabees.
And from a driver to a draftsman, there's a chance for every craftsman. Join the Navy standby Seabees, bees of the 7 seas.
People, places, and things. Prince Alexander of Belgium, the 15-year-old prince, underwent heart surgery today at Boston's Children's Hospital. He's reported in satisfactory condition. Texas, the Fort Worth Zoo is changing the name of the minor bird named Elmer. Elmer, you see, laid an egg, a minor catastrophe. That's it. Good night and a good tomorrow.
Tune in again tomorrow at this time for John Daly and the news.
Tonight, see the true telephone time drama starring Greer Garson. Now ride with Cheyenne on ABC Television Network.